All right. So you are buying a 2021 Hyundai. Well, what did your salesman say about your manufacturer's warranty? Not much? Okay, that's why I'm here. So I'm going to go over a little bit what Hyundai has with you, or has for you. So with your Hyundai, you're getting your 5-year, 60,000 mile limited manufacturer's warranty, and then your 10-year, 100,000 mile limited powertrain warranty. So this guy up here is going to be all of your bells, whistles, technology, stuff like that, because there's so much in these cars these days, basic computers on wheels. And this one down here is going to be all your powertrain stuff, so your engine, transmission, all-wheel drive systems, stuff of that nature. And the reason I go over all this with you is these past couple of years, manufacturers kind of change their verbiage a little bit on what's covered and what's not. And that's this little word down here. It's a limited coverage. So you will be getting a little booklet today with your new Hyundai. It's going to look kind of like this, except it's not going to say 2022. It's going to say 2023. There's like 75 pages in this thing. We're not going to read the whole thing because, well, frankly, you don't want to be in here for 5 hours. But I'm going to touch on a little thing real quick. So, like I said, it was a limited coverage, a defect. So, right here in our section 5, it actually kind of goes into that and dives into it in Hyundai's booklet. And it's going to say, what is covered? Repair or replacement of any component originally manufactured or installed by Hyundai Motor Company that is found to be defective in material or workmanship under normal use and maintenance. So again, even Hyundai kind of discloses that they only do wear and tear or defect items as well. Uh, Moving on over here, like I said, it's going to be a defect coverage only. They use the fancy words material and workmanship. That's basically just fancy words for parts and labor these days. And then a defect is a misdesigned, misbuilt, or misinstalled part from the factory. So what Hyundai is saying is they're obligated to build you vehicles free of defects. However, they're not obligated to build you vehicles free of wear and tear because that's impossible. Vehicles wear and tear over time. It's just natural on things. As we know, defects normally happen after your first year or so after the original service date, and then after that, stuff can start failing due to wear and tear items. I know I'm using that word wear and tear a lot, so what is that? Wear and tear. It can be a laundry list of different things. It can be from racing your Hyundai, jumping your Hyundai, or opening your door one too many times. It's just common on all vehicles, of course. But you guys have been here in the Midwest for a while, right? All right. So as we know, climate, it can be detrimental to your vehicle. Here in the Midwest, we have bipolar climate, we like to call it. So as we're having 40-degree mornings and 80-degree afternoons, it can cause, stuff to expand and contract, and it can cause a lot of harm on our bodies as well as your car, of course. So let's just say that your touchscreen were to short out 2 years down the road. Again, you have 5 years of coverage, so 2 years down the road, you should be covered, right? You'd think so. So in 2 years, if you're going and your touchscreen were to short out, obviously you're going to bring it to the shop to figure out what the heck's going on. And when they pull it in the Hyundai shop, they're going to pull it apart and figure out what the cause of that was. So when they pull it apart, if they find like condensation in there or whatever the case is, they could say, well, hey, that was not a defect, that was actually wear and tear. So Hyundai can reserve the right to repair that failure at any time because, well, because they reserve the right to determine on what is wear and tear or what is a defect at this point in time. It's happening more often than not because everything's getting so expensive. Cost of labor is going up and whatever the case is. So this is happening more and more common all the time just because, well, it's just very expensive these days. Cost of labor is going up, parts are hard to find, so the manufacturers pushing their cost of ownership on their consumers more soon than they are later, if that makes sense. Road conditions. So as we know, roads aren't perfect. So when you're driving down the road and your car can start, it starts vibrating, just the smallest vibrations starts stuff kind of rattling loose or whatever. That is a wear and tear item, not a defect. Personal driving habits. Great thing about new cars these days, they all have these fancy ECU modules now, and they have like a hard drive in those. So if you're cruising around, you're driving like Dale Earnhardt, you blow up the motor, and you tell Hyundai you didn't, well, they can plug into it and say, actually, you did. They can see the events causing up to the catastrophic failure. But the most important one's lack of or improper maintenance. That's just saying, hey, if you don't change your oil, take care of your car, and your engine blows up, and Hyundai kind of notices that, and they pull the dipstick when your engine's locked up and there's nothing on it. So then Hyundai's going to say, well, we're not covering that. That leaves you financially responsible for that. obviously. But that's why Hyundai is giving you 3 years of free oil changes and tire rotations, free maintenance. So if they're giving that to you, might as well go ahead and run. So take that. Um, Over here's additional areas of risk. So obviously this is all your responsibility from day one. Well, except Hyundai. Oil changes and tire rotations. Hyundai's got you covered on that. Belts, hoses, brake pads, alignments, electrical, battery, and headlamps. That's all your responsibility from day one, not the manufacturer's. Tires and wheel coverage. So that is your watch your under and over inflation of the tires. There's sensors everywhere on this car. It's going to tell you down to the exact psi where they are. Make sure you keep those in check, because if you don't, it can cause premature tire wear, or it can be just dangerous in general. Cosmetic conditions: dings, dents, paints, fabric damage, windshield repair, key remote replacement. That was a mouthful. But dings and dents, obviously that'll be on your insurance, not Hyundai. Paint and fabric damage, again, that is you. Windshield repair, key remote replacement. These keys, did your salesman go over how expensive those were with you? No? Alright, well, these keys, since it's a push to start and it's a new Santa Fe, they're like $600 a pop, so do not lose those. They're very expensive, and it's a whole car payment just in your key. Vehicle loss, so theft, deterrent, recovery, total loss. Total loss, so that's where gap insurance would step in. Are you familiar with what gap insurance is? Okay, awesome. So it just pays off your car in the event of, well, if you're upside down or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, you do have your 5-year, 60,000 mile limited manufacturer's warranty and a 10-year and 100,000 mile limited powertrain warranty. But as we know, there are gray areas in the manufacturer's warranty. So with all these gray areas these days in the fine print, we did team up with a company called MPP. It's the greatest service contract company in America, and it's this guy right here. And it's going to give you a blanket coverage with the manufacturer's warranty, and kind of eliminate that limited, or it's going to give you what used to be known as a tried and true bumper to bumper coverage. I've got you set up with and I'm done.